The 5 silent habits that are keeping you average. What if the biggest obstacles in your life aren't the things you notice? What if they're the things you don't? Most people imagine that failure comes from major mistakes, a terrible decision, a huge financial loss, a catastrophic accident, a life-changing setback. But when you look closely at how most people end up dissatisfied with their lives, you discover something surprising. The problem usually isn't one massive mistake. It's a collection of small habits, tiny decisions, invisible behaviors, repeated day after day, month after month, year after year. The scary part is that these habits don't feel dangerous. They don't trigger alarm bells. They don't make headlines. They simply become part of your routine. And because they feel normal, you rarely question them. Yet these small habits quietly determine your future. Every day, your actions are casting votes for the person you're becoming. You may not notice the changes immediately, but eventually, those votes add up. The results become impossible to ignore. Today, we're going to explore 5 silent habits that are keeping millions of people average. Not bad, not terrible, just average. And if you're willing to be honest with yourself, you might recognize some of them in your own life. Let's begin.
Number 1, waiting until you feel motivated. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is this: I'll start when I feel motivated. I'll start exercising when I feel motivated. I'll start studying when I feel motivated. I'll start building my business when I feel motivated. At first, this sounds reasonable. After all, motivation feels powerful. When you're motivated, everything seems easier. You feel energized, focused, determined. The problem is that motivation is temporary. Some days you'll wake up excited. Other days you'll wake up exhausted. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you'll want to stay in bed. If your success depends on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. Think about brushing your teeth. Do you wait until you're motivated to brush your teeth? Of course not. You do it because it's a habit. You understand that it's necessary. The same principle applies to success. The people who achieve great things aren't always motivated. They're simply consistent. They've trained themselves to act whether they feel like it or not. Professional athletes don't train only when they're inspired. Successful writers don't write only when they're in the mood. Top students don't study only when they feel motivated. They show up anyway, because they understand something that most people don't. Action creates motivation. The ability to act despite your emotions is one of the most valuable skills you can develop, because emotions are unreliable. Some days they'll help you. Other days they'll sabotage you. Discipline allows you to keep moving forward regardless. And over time, consistency beats intensity. A person who studies for 1 hour every day will outperform someone who studies 10 hours once a month. A person who exercises regularly will outperform someone who waits for occasional bursts of motivation. Success is not built on dramatic moments. It's built on ordinary actions repeated consistently. Number 2, constantly comparing yourself to others. Never before in human history have we been exposed to so many people. Every day, social media gives us front row seats to the lives of strangers. You see entrepreneurs buying luxury cars, fitness influencers showing perfect physiques, travel creators exploring exotic destinations, students getting accepted into top universities, creators celebrating massive success. At first glance, it seems inspiring, but there's a hidden danger: comparison. Without realizing it, you begin measuring your life against theirs. You compare your income, your appearance, your progress, your achievements, your relationships, and slowly your self-confidence begins to erode. The problem is that you're comparing 2 completely different things. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's highlight reel. You see their best moments. You don't see their struggles. You see the finished product. You don't see the years of failure that came before it. You see the victory. You don't see the sacrifices.
Imagine watching the final 5 minutes of a movie and assuming that's the entire story. That's essentially what happens on social media. People rarely post their loneliness, their anxiety, their failures, their self-doubt, their mistakes. Instead, they showcase the moments that make them look successful. As a result, you begin believing that everyone else is ahead of you. Everyone else is happier. Everyone else is more successful. Everyone else has life figured out. But that's an illusion. Every person you admire is fighting battles you cannot see. Every successful person has experienced setbacks. Every confident person has experienced doubt. Every expert was once a beginner. Comparison becomes especially dangerous because it shifts your focus away from your own growth. Instead of measuring progress against your past self, you measure it against someone else's present. And that's a game you'll never win.
There will always be someone richer, smarter, stronger, more talented, more attractive, no matter how successful you become. The goal was never to be everyone else. The goal is to become better than you were yesterday. Real confidence comes from progress, not comparison. Focus on your journey. Focus on your habits. Focus on your growth. Because the only life you can improve is your own. Number 3, consuming more than you create. We live in the greatest age of information in human history. Knowledge is available everywhere. You can learn almost anything for free. Business, fitness, psychology, finance, programming, marketing, productivity. The problem isn't a lack of information. The problem is that most people consume information endlessly without applying it. Think about how much content the average person consumes every day. Videos, podcasts, articles, posts, shorts, reels, news. Hours and hours of information entering the brain. But how much of it is actually used? Very little.
Many people have become addicted to learning without doing. They watch videos about discipline, but never practice discipline. They watch videos about fitness, but never exercise. They watch videos about business, but never start anything. They convince themselves they're making progress because they're learning. But learning alone doesn't change your life. Application does. Imagine reading 100 books about swimming. Would that make you a swimmer? No. At some point, you need to enter the water. The same principle applies to every skill. Knowledge is only valuable when it leads to action. Unfortunately, action is uncomfortable. Learning feels safe. Action feels risky. Watching a video about public speaking is easy. Actually speaking in public is hard. Reading about entrepreneurship is easy. Starting a business is hard. Watching productivity videos is easy. Doing difficult work is hard. That's why many people remain trapped in endless consumption. It feels productive, but it produces no results. The world rewards creators, people who build things, write things, practice things, improve things, create things. Every meaningful achievement comes from action, not information. Ask yourself this question. Are you spending more time consuming than creating? Because if the answer is yes, you may be unintentionally slowing your own growth. Consume less, apply more, learn less, practice more. Because action turns knowledge into results. Number 4, choosing comfort over growth. Human beings naturally seek comfort. It's part of our biology. Our brains are designed to conserve energy and avoid unnecessary risk. Thousands of years ago, this helped our ancestors survive. Today, however, comfort has become one of the biggest barriers to personal growth. Modern life offers endless opportunities to remain comfortable. Unlimited entertainment, instant food delivery, endless scrolling, endless distractions.
You can spend an entire day avoiding discomfort without even trying, and that's exactly what many people do. The problem is that growth and comfort rarely exist together. Think about every major achievement in your life. Learning to drive, starting a new job, giving a presentation, taking an exam, meeting new people. Every one of those experiences involved discomfort. At first, you felt nervous, uncertain, awkward, maybe even scared. But eventually, you adapted. You grew. Your comfort zone expanded. That's how personal development works. Growth requires discomfort. There's no way around it. Want to build confidence? You'll need to face situations that make you uncomfortable. Want to get stronger? You'll need to push your body beyond its current limits. Want to improve your communication skills? You'll need to risk embarrassment. Want to become successful? You'll need to tolerate uncertainty. The people who accomplish extraordinary things aren't fearless. They're simply willing to be uncomfortable longer than everyone else. Meanwhile, average people often organize their entire lives around avoiding discomfort. They avoid difficult conversations, avoid challenges, avoid risks, avoid failure, avoid rejection. Unfortunately, when you avoid discomfort, you also avoid growth. And eventually, comfort becomes a prison. You stay in the same place, not because you're incapable of improving, but because improvement requires temporary pain. Remember this, everything you want is on the other side of discomfort. The confidence, the success, the skills, the opportunities, the growth. The question is whether you're willing to pay the price. Number 5, living on autopilot. This may be the most dangerous habit of all. Living without intention. Living on autopilot. Many people wake up every day and repeat the same routine.
They check their phone, go to work, come home, watch content, go to sleep, then repeat. Day after day, week after week, year after year. And eventually, they wonder where the time went. The truth is that life moves faster than we realize. 1 year becomes 5, 5 becomes 10, and suddenly, decades have passed. Many people spend more time planning a vacation than planning their future. They drift through life without clear direction. Not because they're lazy, not because they're unintelligent, but because they never stop to ask important questions. Where am I going? What kind of person do I want to become? What am I working toward? What matters most to me? Without clear answers, life becomes reactive. You respond to circumstances instead of creating them. You follow opportunities instead of pursuing a vision. You live according to habit instead of intention. Imagine a ship leaving a harbor without a destination.
It may travel for months, even years, but without direction, it will drift wherever the currents take it. Many people live exactly this way. They're busy, but not purposeful. Active, but not intentional. Moving, but not progressing. Being busy is not the same as moving forward. Productivity without direction is just motion. Clarity creates direction. Direction creates focus. Focus creates action. Action creates results. The moment you become intentional about your life, everything changes. Your decisions improve. Your habits improve. Your priorities improve. Your future improves. Because you're no longer drifting, you're steering. Final thought. Most people are waiting for a breakthrough, a lucky opportunity, a perfect moment, a life-changing event, something that suddenly transforms everything overnight. But real transformation rarely happens that way. Success is usually quieter than that. It happens through small decisions, daily habits, consistent actions, tiny improvements repeated over time. The 5 habits we discussed today may seem harmless. Waiting for motivation, comparing yourself to others, consuming more than you create, choosing comfort over growth, living on autopilot. Individually, they don't seem dangerous, but together, they can quietly steal years from your life.
The good news is that small positive habits work the same way. 1 workout, 1 chapter, 1 difficult conversation, 1 hour of focused work, 1 courageous decision, repeated consistently, can completely change your future. Remember this. You do not become what you wish for. You become what you repeatedly do. Your habits shape your identity. Your identity shapes your actions. And your actions shape your future. 5 years from now, you'll either be grateful for the choices you're making today, or you'll wish you had started sooner. The choice is yours. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment and tell me which of these 5 habits affects you the most. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more self-improvement content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.